Hey team, wanted to go ahead and do a quick little video to accompany the sheet that's just going out right now, detailing what's going on with this first challenge. First things first, I wanted to go ahead and just address a little bit of the challenge structure. I think we've talked about this in class a few times, but if we haven't seen you in a while and you want to participate, we want to make sure that we talk about that again just so that you get the idea of where this is going. Okay. So first thing I'd like to say is that this is a 4-week challenge. Okay. So the whole thing will be 4 weeks long. Each week we are going to release a new challenge, right? And that challenge is going to essentially drive a point total. And your point total is going to be our barometer for how well are you doing, okay? We'll talk about the point system here in a second. The goal of this challenge, which I'll kind of get to in a little more detail later, is more to help you guys develop the habits and the tactics that you're going to need to see success with nutrition in the long term. The goal of this challenge is not necessarily to help you lose a ton of weight or see amazing results in the gym in 4 weeks. As we know, that's not something that just happens overnight, certainly not in 4 weeks. These are habits that you need to develop and sustain for the long term in order to be successful in any sort of athletic endeavor, or even when it just comes to manipulating your body weight and your body composition to be what you want it to be. Okay? So take that with a grain of salt. Understand that this challenge is more about a learning experience or an educational experience, as opposed to like, I gotta kickstart my diet to get my summer body. Okay, that may happen and that we'll definitely see gains in that area, but just understand that's not the intent. So first thing I wanna go ahead and do is get into that sheet that we sent out and sort of explain it, its different components, so you might get an idea of where we're going with this. All right. So the first challenge is obviously related to nutrition. It's about building that foundation of quality nutrition so that you kind of understand the nuts and bolts, or the blocking and tackling of nutrition when it comes to getting the body you want and also improving performance. Okay? So there's a plan your plate piece to this. And this sort of details like, hey, when you're building a plate, here are sort of the fundamentals that are going to help you build a meal that's going to be of extremely high quality, give you the macro and micronutrients you need, while also making sure that you're getting the right amount of energy for your activity level or for your goals. Okay, so the plan your plate rules are general guidelines. They do not play into the point system. They in no way will affect your points for the day. It's more or less just something that you can refer to when building out your plate to kind of help you understand, okay, when I'm making a meal, what should my plate look like? And so this is something that everybody that's new to nutrition should really figure out. They should have a lean protein source at every meal. They should have vegetables at every meal. Enough fat to give flavor to food and to balance hormones, and then some carbohydrate in there as well to kind of sustain performance. Okay, so we're not getting into like certain diets with this challenge. Like, we're not trying to say you can or can't be this. You know, if you follow keto, you can still do this challenge. If you follow, a high carb diet, you can still do this challenge. That's why we're making sure that the plan your plate piece is simply our recommendation if you're looking for a starting point, and it's a very good starting point if you don't necessarily have one of these other methodologies you're following. Okay. Then what I want to talk about next is the point system. Okay. So this point system is a qualitative point system, not a quantitative point system. And so that seems a little backwards, but I'll kind of explain what that means here. So each day of the challenge throughout the 4 weeks, you're going to start with a bank of 5 points. So now for this first challenge, the only thing that can happen to that point total during the day is that it can go down. We have 3 baskets of food that you'll be able to see on that sheet. We have foods that are in the eat more category. We have foods that are in the eat some category, and foods that are in the eat less category. If your food that you eat on your plate, regardless of the amount that you have, is in the eat more category, you will not lose any points for that food. Okay? And when we say food, we mean the individual ingredients in your meal. Okay? So when we're breaking down, what would be a good example? Good example would be like pancakes. All right? So in that example, it really comes down to the type of pancake batter that you're using, but you've got to look at your ingredients list, not just the fact that it's a pancake, to determine where it falls on the eat more, eat some, eat less scale. Okay? So don't just look at that food, qualify it as just that given food, and can say that that's the end of the story. That's not necessarily the case, because certainly a lot of foods we get, especially prepackaged foods, have a lot of different ingredients. On the surface, it might look like a good food. It might be fine on the list, but then when you look at the ingredients list, there might be added sugar or something of that nature that's going to make it on the eat less or the eat some list. Okay, so you have to look at all the ingredients when you're kind of determining that point system. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself. If you're looking at your plate or you're looking at your snack, whatever it is that you're eating, you've got to look at each individual component of that snack or meal and see where it falls on those within those categories. Okay, Josie sent out some really comprehensive lists that hopefully will help guide you in understanding where each of those ingredients falls on the list, and that will help you determine how that affects your score. If you have a plate with only foods and ingredients that are on the eat more list, no points are lost. However, if you have a food that is on the eat some list, that's 1 point subtracted. Okay, if you have a food that's on the eat less list, that is 2 points subtracted. So now, like I said before, this is a qualitative challenge, not a quantitative challenge. So we're not saying that, hey, if you have one pork sausage that's that might be on the eat some list, okay, that would be 1 point lost, whereas 3 sausages would be 3 points lost. It's not going to be that way. We're just going to look at it and say, hey, you had a lesser quality food, regardless of the amount that you ate, it is going to be just a single point docked for that food. Okay. Now, if you happen to eat a lesser quality food that's on the eat less or the eat some list at separate meals, that would be multiple points lost. You'd lose the requisite points for first meal, and you would lose those points for the next meal. So hopefully that's straightforward. If I eat a Pop-Tart, that's definitely on the eat less list. If I eat a Pop-Tart for breakfast, that's 2 points lost for breakfast. If I eat another one for my snack later, that's another 2 points lost. Okay. Whereas if I just have the one Pop-Tart at breakfast, just 2 points. Okay. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. All right. If there are any questions on that, feel free to shoot them within the group so that everybody can see the question. We'll address it as coaches because I'm sure you guys will all have the same questions. All right, hopefully we'll be able to address those en masse. Hopefully that kind of details the point system a little bit. You're going to be keeping track of your points daily. That sheet that we're sending out has a convenient spot for you to just file your points every single day. As coaches, we're going to want to know what your point totals are at least weekly by the end of the week, because we're going to go ahead and post those results at the end of the week. So make sure that you are keeping track of your point totals daily. We don't want to get into a situation where it's Friday and you're trying to remember what you did on Monday. Okay, so make sure that you're keeping track of that on a daily basis. Finally, tactics for success. Josie and I are going to be doing the best we can to kind of share some of the things that we do and help set you guys up for success, or help you kind of through that learning curve of figuring out how to make this work for you. Especially if you're someone who's not used to food prepping or being able to build your meals in this way. Certainly there's a learning curve with this, so don't beat yourself up if you don't get it on the first day or even in the first week. I would be content if it took 4 weeks and you came out of those 4 weeks with an idea of, yep, I know how to meal prep, I know what foods I should be buying, I've got my meal prep routine down to where it doesn't take me that long and I even might enjoy the process of doing it. I've tested out some recipes that I really like and enjoy, so on and so forth. Like I said, the goal is not for you to get this out of the gates and all of a sudden lose a bunch of weight in 4 weeks. The goal is to help set you guys up with a foundation of quality tactics that helps you throughout the rest of your life and the rest of your time with us. Okay. Finally, like I said, the goal of the challenge is just that, making sure that you guys come away with those skills. It's not that we're trying to overhaul your nutrition overnight and make you all of a sudden have these amazing performance improvements or anything else like that. It's great, we'll take them, but just understand that that's not necessarily like our intent as coaches. All right, I've talked for 9 minutes. Hopefully that's enough, guys. Let us know if there are any questions. You'll be seeing this on Facebook, so if there are any questions, hit us up. Thanks.